friends, welcome back to our program that is Unseen Made Seen. Hope that you are enjoying this. So, we start with the passage number 3. Floods are not new to India and this subcontinent, but in recent years, the problem of flooding has received much greater attention, perhaps largely because it has led to greater damage now than it did in the past. Even though information on the impending occurrence of floods is now more accurate and certainly more timely, often there is very little time or support infrastructure in place by which damage can be minimized. This is particularly true in the case of flash floods resulting from sudden and excessive heavy rain. Impending means about to happen. Infrastructure, that is basic physical necessities, physical needs, and flash floods means sudden floods. On to paragraph 2. In the case of India, flooding is very much related to the seasonal nature of our rainfall. The monsoons are spread over a short period during the year and often bring concentrated volume of rain, means heavy rain, which cannot be absorbed by the earth and which cannot be held, you can say, by the earth, and finds an outlet only in the form of streams that join up with our major river systems. Flooding due to heavy rain is confined, that means limited, not only to the main rivers of the country but also affects smaller tributaries, smaller streams, smaller rivers, contributory rivers of the main rivers streams. Once these streams spill over their banks, means overflow their banks, they could cause excessive harm, too much harm, mainly because those living near the banks of these streams, particularly in the mountain areas, do not have easy recourse, easy help to moving away quickly. Third paragraph. One major factor that could lead to a higher severity, seriousness of flooding in the future is the danger of climate change. While the evidence of the nature of impacts, means effects, consequences resulting from climate change on precipitation, rain forming clouds, and flooding at the regional level is not entirely clear, it could happen that the Indian subcontinent witnesses and suffers the effects of significantly changed, uh, very importantly changed pattern of monsoons. One set of scientists has studied and concluded that the monsoons could be shorter in duration but far more intensive, means heavy rains. Maybe 2 or 3 months of monsoon, but it will be very heavy. In other words, much greater precipitation is rain forming. The process of rain forming clouds would take place in much shorter period of time, thereby increasing the danger of floods. Climate change is the result of human actions through the increased concentration of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere, of which carbon dioxide is the most prominent. So, greenhouse gases, what they do is they trap heat, and after some time from there they release heat. So as a result of that, there ought to be the atmosphere is ought to become very hot. And fourth paragraph, at the local level also human actions have heightened the danger of floods, means increased the danger of floods through the cutting of trees in the mountains as well as in the plains. In case of India, the ecological environmental damage through deforestation, cutting of trees of the Himalayas, has led to large scale erosion of the mountain slopes. Erosion, that is loss of soil on the slopes of mountains, and high levels of siltation, means these lost ones will go and they get deposited in the river beds. This led to the deposition of silt in the riverbeds, in the plains, and hence spillover of water whenever the volume in the river reaches a certain level. With siltation on the riverbeds means depositing of these eroded soil in the riverbeds. Flooding occurs even at very shallow water levels. The vulnerability of the population, the sufferings of the population who are prone to such sufferings, has increased substantially, very much because of population pressures. An example is the stubborn and perhaps helpless settling of slum dwellers on the banks of the river Yamuna in Delhi, who become victims of flooding. What is a mere trickle most of the year means very little water most of the year bursts its banks during the monsoons, as has been the case in recent years. So the worst hit people are the slum dwellers there, because after all they are poor people and they have come all the way from the cities because there is no place for them. Pressure. And number five, and the last paragraph for you. Flood forecasting is critical in minimizing the damage from floods. It is for this reason that the Central Water Commission has set up a network of forecasting stations which cover the most important flood prone interstate rivers in the country. Flood prone means easily flooding. There's a chance that these rivers will be will be uh, they have there is a tendency for these rivers to become tendency for these rivers to get flooded. That is flood prone means flood prone interstate rivers in the country. There could be easily flooded. These stations produce forecasts that are used to alert the public and to move various official agencies so that they take both preventive as well as relief measures whenever required. However, even in cases where forecasts have been timely and generally accurate, people have often been reluctant, unwilling to move away because, in most cases, they lack the means and physical options for moving away from a danger zone to one that is relatively safe. Physical options in the sense that physical infrastructure, we have already seen that. And then, in the case of flash floods, sudden floods, forecasts are difficult to make, and often the time available for relief is very short. It's very simple passage comparatively, not very unknown words here. Not we have almost all the words are known to you. Reluctant is unwilling. I mean, yes, unwilling. Flash flood means sudden floods. Relief measures means measures to help people to get over the difficulties and so on. I think it's very clear to you. All right. So, based on your understanding of the passage, answer the questions given below. Here it is. A. The problem of floods has been considered more important recently because our answer I have already marked because we don't want to waste my time on this. So it's very clear. Floods have led to much greater damage now than in the past. B. Specify the option that displays what the writer projects with reference to the following statement. One major factor that could lead to higher severity of flooding in the future is the danger of climate change. Well, the answer is the second one, speculative. And C, complete the following with the phrase from the paragraph 3. Already I have done it here. Greater precipitation. D, the writer claims that flood forecasting is critical to minimizing the damage from floods. State one reason for the claim. Flood prone interstate rivers can be covered. In forecasting, what you can do is that flood prone interstate rivers are there. As I told you, it can be easily flooded. Such rivers. So when you cover that, there will be what you call we can minimize it. Also timely. Timely forecasting about floods possible for the possibility of or impending floods in interstate rivers can be of great help. And E, even when the prediction is accurate, people do not evacuate the places where the warning is given. That is very true, isn't it? We have already seen that. Supply one point to justify the following. The worst hit people are slum dwellers. Why? Because they are victims of flooding. And G, and the last one for you. Based on your reading of the text, list two reasons why the writer says that In spite of timely forecasting, people have suffered. One is poverty, and the second is lack of options, lack of physical options to move. Poverty, because we have already seen there is most people from slum villages, they migrate and then settle down the banks of rivers, uh, especially flood prone rivers. And here it is H. The writer says that forecasts are difficult to make and time available is very short. Select the reason for it, because it's very clear flash floods. And next one is, what connect does the writer show between tributaries and floods? Well, very simple in the sense that water from the banks of the tributaries spill over and cause flooding. First, what happens is that the river itself, the main river itself, will be flooded, and then water from that will be flooded to spill over to or flow to into the tributaries and streams. So that is the connection. That's very. I think that straight away it's very simple. The vulnerability of the population has increased substantially because of population pressures symbolized by people are superstitious. Second is difficult to evacuate flood affected areas, and that is the second is the answer. The second is the answer. That is difficult to evacuate. Understand that. That is the answer to you. Uh, and then we have select the correct option. Only, uh, only one. That is this one. Sorry. Only one only no, but one and two only no. Only two. We have already selected that. Only two. Oh, sorry, I have already selected this. I did not see that. Okay. So I think that is all over, and you have understood it is of great use to you, useful to you. If these classes are useful to you, please write your comments on the comment box. Also, like, share, and subscribe. Okay. See you again with another passage. Till then, bye. Have a nice time. Enjoy.